What if the most significant development in a high-profile prison case wasn't a courtroom ruling, but a quiet administrative decision behind closed doors? In a twist few anticipated, a new development has reshaped the narrative surrounding Michael Sandlana's time behind bars. The unexpected turn has intensified national debate, stirred political undercurrents, and placed renewed scrutiny on South Africa's correctional system at a time when public trust in institutions remains fragile. Michael Sandlana, once a visible and influential figure within South Africa's political landscape, has been at the center of sustained controversy since his incarceration. His arrest and subsequent imprisonment sent shockwaves through political circles, not only because of the allegations involved, but because of what his case symbolized, a test of institutional accountability in a democracy still grappling with the legacy of state capture and governance failures. Now, reports suggest that a recent internal decision within the correctional system has altered the trajectory of his prison experience. While details remain limited, according to sources familiar with the matter, Sandlana's classification status and conditions of detention have undergone review. This development has raised urgent questions about fairness, transparency, and political influence. The Department of Correctional Services, operating under national policy frameworks shaped by the post-apartheid constitutional order, maintains that all inmates are subject to established regulations. South Africa's prison system, governed by the Correctional Services Act, is designed to balance security, rehabilitation, and human rights protections. Yet high-profile cases inevitably draw heightened scrutiny. Observers note that Sandlana's case arrives at a politically sensitive moment. The country continues to confront the aftershocks of corruption inquiries, economic pressure, and internal divisions within major political parties. Any perceived shift in how a prominent inmate is treated carries broader implications. According to reports, the unexpected turn involves procedural changes rather than dramatic external events. Allegations have emerged that certain administrative processes were expedited. However, no official confirmation has suggested wrongdoing. Authorities have emphasized compliance with existing regulations, underscoring that inmate classifications are periodically reviewed based on behavior, risk assessment, and rehabilitation progress. Within political circles, reactions have been cautious but charged. Opposition figures have called for transparency, arguing that high-profile cases must not create the perception of preferential treatment. At the same time, allies of Sandlana have framed the development as evidence that due process is functioning as intended. The broader context cannot be ignored. South Africa's correctional facilities have long faced systemic challenges, including overcrowding, infrastructure strain, and budgetary constraints. Any adjustment in the management of a prominent inmate inevitably intersects with national conversations about equality before the law. Public reaction has reflected the country's deep political polarization. Social media platforms have been flooded with commentary, some expressing concern that influence may still operate behind institutional walls, others arguing that procedural reviews are routine and should not be politicized. Legal analysts emphasize that administrative reviews within correctional systems are standard practice. Risk assessments, behavioral evaluations, and rehabilitation metrics are periodically revisited. In high-profile cases, however, the margin for public misunderstanding widens dramatically. The critical question now is not simply what changed, but why it matters. For some, the issue represents a litmus test of institutional resilience. South Africa's constitutional democracy rests on the principle that no individual stands above the law. From the era of the Zondo Commission into ongoing governance reforms, the public appetite for accountability has only intensified. The unexpected development in Sandlana's prison journey therefore resonates beyond a single individual. It speaks to the credibility of state institutions. It challenges perceptions about fairness. And it forces political actors to tread carefully. Inside Parliament, discussions about oversight have reportedly gained momentum. Lawmakers from multiple parties have called for briefings from correctional authorities, seeking clarity on procedural integrity. While there is no verified evidence of impropriety, the optics alone demand attention. At the same time, correctional officials face a delicate balancing act. Overexposure of operational details could compromise security protocols. Underexposure risks fueling speculation. The communication strategy moving forward may prove as consequential as the decision itself. Political analysts suggest that the impact of this development may extend into upcoming electoral narratives. South Africa's political climate remains intensely competitive. Trust in leadership, perceptions of justice, and questions of transparency frequently shape voter sentiment. Should the public interpret this development as routine administration, the controversy may subside. But if doubts persist, the issue could evolve into a symbol of broader institutional vulnerability. There is also the human dimension. Regardless of political affiliation, incarceration involves structured processes designed to encourage rehabilitation. Correctional systems globally operate under frameworks that allow for reassessment. In that sense, procedural changes are not inherently extraordinary. Sandlana's prominence ensures that every administrative movement becomes headline material. The convergence of politics, law, and public perception magnifies routine processes into national debates. Legal scholars caution against conflating administrative review with exoneration or special treatment. They emphasize that South Africa's constitutional safeguards include oversight mechanisms precisely to prevent abuse. If procedures were followed, the system is functioning. If deviations occurred, investigative frameworks exist to address them. For now, the official narrative remains measured. Authorities have reiterated commitment to lawful administration. No judicial reversal has taken place. No sentence has been overturned. What has changed appears confined to internal classification or management. Yet perception often carries as much weight as fact in political arenas. This unexpected turn may ultimately serve as a reminder of the delicate equilibrium within South Africa's democratic institutions. The country has navigated turbulent chapters before, from state capture inquiries to leadership transitions, and has consistently demonstrated both vulnerability and resilience.